What a Hasidic Fabren can accomplish, it says even Malach Mochol, even Angel Mochol in Shemayim in heaven cannot accomplish what a Hasidic Fabren can accomplish. So I want to ask everyone to please raise their glasses. Let's say L'chaim, excuse me guys for a second. Let's say L'chaim, let's wish Racham and Zolaycha, Sharafu Kriva Shlema. L'chaim, L'chaim, V'racha.
Amen. You want chicken, please. You want chicken? Rabbi?
There is a physical therapist in our shul, Yoni Bernfeld, and I just Baruch Hashem recovered completely, I think, from the injury I had in my foot a few months ago. And I mentioned it to Yoni. He's a physical therapist, and he said the thing that takes the longest to heal from is your ankles, because they're the farthest from your heart. Whatever is closer to the heart heals faster, because the heart cleans and clears everything out. So the last thing to get healed, the longest thing to heal, is the things that are farthest from the heart. It got me thinking about, we're saying every day in Elul, chapter 27 in Tehillim, talking about using our heart to examine what's going on in our lives. And this comes to the highest point next week, Rosh Hashanah, when we are face to face, when we crown Hashem as our King. In that day, Rosh Hashanah, what stands out to everyone is the shofar. Rosh Hashanah is called the day of Teruah, the day of the shofar. And it makes sense that people get emotional at certain parts of the prayers, like who will live and who, God forbid, the opposite. Our cantor, Rabbi Greenwald, we all know, when he gets up to those words, he starts bawling. He can't stop. But the people also cry, a lot of people cry by the shofar. The question is, what's so emotional, what's so touching about the shofar? What is the mystery of the shofar? A friend of mine, who's 7 years old, his grandfather was crying Rosh Hashanah, and he asked his grandfather, why do you cry? He said to him, these are not tears of fear, these are not tears of pain, these are tears of joy. He had no understanding. What are you talking about? His grandfather said to him, one day you'll understand, if not, I'll explain to you. And let's try to understand what the meaning is of the tears of joy of the shofar. The shofar is not like other instruments. There are many kinds of instruments, but the shofar doesn't have such a pleasant sound. Let's be honest. Not only that, when you blow in the shofar, I blow the shofar, you don't know how it's going to come out. You could try, you think how it's going to come out, and sometimes you're like there and nothing comes out. Sometimes the sound is very heavy, sometimes it's different. And the halacha is, interesting, every sound is kosher. Every sound of the shofar is kosher. Now you'd think, when you light the candles on Shabbat, it's supposed to be the best candles, the best candlesticks. It's supposed to, everything in Judaism has to be the best. You got to buy a pair of tefillin, and you're supposed to try to get the best you can. But here with the shofar, the Torah says, whatever you do is good enough. The question is why? Why is the shofar unique? We don't say do your best. We say whatever you do is good. Why do we all of a sudden why do you lower the bar on the highest, the holiest day of the year? We say, Hakol, it's all kosher, doesn't matter. Another thing, we say when we blow the shofar, what happens? When we blow the shofar, it says we're blowing the shofar to confuse the Satan. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. There's this satanic devil guy. We blow in his ear, and he gets scared and he can't come. What's going on? Why does blowing the shofar confuse the Satan? I'll confess, when I was a yeshiva student in Morristown, New Jersey, every Friday I would go down to Newark and put on film with people. And there were these two Buddhist Jews. And I would visit them every week, and they were pretty much not paying any attention to me. So one week I went there with the shofar there, middle of whatever it is, middle of Elul, and boy, Shalom Aleichem. So these Buddhist Jews are Jews, no such thing as a Buddhist Jew, but they thought they were Buddhist. And Shalom Aleichem Moshe, Shalom Aleichem Vitali. So they thought they were Buddhist, and I was with a friend of mine. He's like, "Should we blow the shofar?" I'm like, "Give it all you got, give it all you got." And I remember, forget to this day, that one of these Jews was like, I think some wild hyena has gotten into our store. I don't know what's going on. They knew exactly what it was, and hopefully it had an effect. The point though is, what does it mean? We disturb the Satan and blowing the shofar. How do we disturb the Satan? To understand this, you have to know more about what the sound of the shofar is about. There are different kinds of languages. There's a language of the mind. We're always surrounded by languages. We see things, we see images, we hear music, we read things. We're constantly being bombarded with all kinds of language. There's language of the heart, there's language of the mind, and it's good to have an enriched language that helps you communicate. But then there is another kind of language. And this is the language of the soul, language of the deepest part of the soul. And this is where the shofar is about. The shofar is not about anything sophisticated in a way. It's a little wild. It's not something which is very organized. It's a little primitive sound, but it's powerful. Why is it powerful? Because of its simplicity, because of its purity. What is it? So Baal Shem the Baal Shem Tov gave the following parable to explain the shofar. Baal Shem Tov said there was a father who had a beloved son who his son wanted to learn more about the wisdom of the world. He wanted to travel, and his father said he should go to this far-off city and he should help raise the bar in that city, help educate the people, help arrange, and gave him a lot of resources, gave him a lot of money, gave him a lot of different things. To go to the city and make it happen in the city. Here's the money, here's silver, here's gold. Here are people that will help you make it happen in the city. So this prince goes to the city, and he wastes the money very quickly. Besides wasting the money, he didn't treat his employees so well, so his employees left him. So after a very short amount of time, he's homeless and he's penniless. And one day, the prince sees that everyone's very excited. Everyone is wearing their best clothing. Everyone is cleaning their homes, and he asked him what's going on. He said, they told him, the king is coming. The king is coming. My dad is coming. It's exciting. Wow, my dad's coming. I should go see him too. And the king had a palace in this town. So when the king came, he stayed in the palace. The king comes, and he is a prince. He wants to go see his father. But he goes to the palace gate, and there are the guards. The guards say, who goes here? But he couldn't answer them in their language because he had already forgotten the language of the palace. He was so assimilated such a long time, he didn't even know not only the etiquette of the palace, he didn't know the language of the palace. So he said to them, who are you? So he's trying to hint to them who he is. Me, that guy inside, me, we're related, hello. But when they finally figured out what he was trying to say, you think they believed him? Yankel, another Meshuggah thinks that he's the prince. He wasn't the first guy pretending to be the long-lost prince. What a great idea, I'll be the prince. Come on, man, get a job, prince. And he didn't know what to do. He's stuck over there. He wants to see his father. There's his chance, his father is there. But how is he going to go see his father? They're guards. And he doesn't smell like the prince, doesn't look like the prince, doesn't sound like the prince. So he screams out, Father, Father, save me, Father, Father, help me. And his father, the king, didn't understand the words he was saying, but boy, did he recognize the sound of his son's cry. It says about Shem Tov, that's all of our stories. The king is Hashem, the prince is us. We're sent to this world with silver and gold. What does silver and gold mean? The soul has silver, which represents reverence, yearning and love for Hashem. It has gold, it has reverence for Hashem. And it has a whole entourage, it has a lot of resources. The soul has a wealth of resources to do its mission in the world. What happens to us is that we get involved in all kinds of physical things, we get involved in petty things, we get involved in jealousy, we get involved in lust, we get involved in glory, and we forget about the king and the mission and what we're here for. But then comes the day of Rosh Hashanah, and we blow the shofar. What happens is the deepest part of our heart is revealed, and we want to be with the king. And that's why it confuses the Satan. What's the Satan going around? Satan's going around saying, you know this guy, Zabich, you know what he's doing? He is paying attention to his tefillah, and not really. The guy, he's his Shabbat, he could do a lot better. His Chas v'Shalom. So what happens? Mr. Zabich blows the shofar for Rosh Hashanah, and Satan says he's into lust, he's into glory, he's into this. the Satan sees how his heart comes out and he blows the shofar and he wants to be with Hashem, he gets confused. How am I saying he's into this and into that? He's clearly not into that. All that stuff is meaningless to him. Look how he's pouring out his soul now to Hashem. It's obvious that all the things that he thought he was into or looked like he was into, it's not true. In Europe, I don't remember exactly what area it is, I'm sure Zohar does, there is an estate of a Count Potolsky. Count Potolsky, you heard of him?
Graf Potolsky.
Oh, that's not. You heard of him?
He's famous.
Oh, yeah. So he had a son, whose son became very enamored of the Jewish people, and he went to Vilna to learn about the Jewish people. Meanwhile, the palace was looking for him, and the word in the street was that the prince had died. But he didn't die. He converted to Judaism, and he became Avram, the son of Avram Avinu. Then the king finds out about it. The king sends his guards, and the guards tell the prince, you have a choice. Either you get burnt at the stake, or you accept Christianity. Now and be a good Christian. So Avram is not a question. I want to be a Jew. That's why he gave everything up. I gave up the palace because I want to be a Jew. So they bring him to the stake. And as they're bringing him to the stake, he, by the way, his ashes, were ransomed by the Jewish community in Vilna, and the Vilna Goyen want to be buried next to the ashes of Avram and Avram. And as they're bringing him to the stake, they see he's smiling, he's radiant, he's happy, he's exuberant. They say to him, one of the Gentiles steers at him, I know what you're thinking. He tells Avram and Avram, this is what you're thinking. On the other side, in the next world, you think your God is stronger than our God. In this world, we have the upper hand. In the next world, you think your God is going to be the ultimate, strongest in the next world, and you're going to get vengeance on us in the next world. You're going to put us on the stake in the next world. That's what you're thinking.
Both words.
Huh?
I know, I imagine, I don't remember. He will say in both words.
So I'll tell you what he said. Avram ben Avram, he looks at them, he says, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Let me tell you a story. He says, when I was little, I had a friend, let's call him Josh. Josh would come over to my house, we would play games. Josh came over to my house once, and my father had just gone to Italy, and he had bought this very expensive chess set. Chess made with marble, with glass, with ivory. Very expensive chess set. And I won the game. And Josh was not a good loser. So Josh took one piece and he broke it. Josh took a second piece and he broke it. He took a third piece. He broke 4 pieces of the chess set. I was so angry at Josh. I said to myself, when I become the next Count Potolsky, I am going to take this kid Josh, I'm going to put him in jail. That's what I said to myself when I was a kid. But then I grew up a little bit. And I realized, who cares about the stupid chess pieces? That chess pieces matter. All those things I thought were so important to me, I realized they're nothing. So he said to them a similar way, I am about to do Kiddush Hashem. I'm about to do the greatest thing that a person could do in this world, to sanctify Hashem's name, to die in honor of Hashem. You think I'm thinking about you and vengeance? It's far away from my thoughts as Mimizach Hamayr, east to west. There was this is the sound of the shofar. They say that in order for a balloon to rise up in the sky, what does a balloon need? It needs to be filled up with helium. Similar way, helium represents the ruach, the spirituality. All the things that we think about, this matters, that matters, this matters. When we fill ourselves up with a little bit of ruach, when we start thinking what really matters, all becomes insignificant. There was a mother and a daughter went to Target. And they come out of Target with a bunch of packages, and they walk into a torrential rainstorm. So the daughter and the mother run under this awning of a store for shelter. So the mother says to the daughter, we got to stay here because we're going to get soaking. Daughter says, so what? We'll get soaking. Mom, didn't you tell me that if Dad survives cancer, nothing could stop us? If Dad will survive Yana Machla, nothing could stop us? Didn't you tell us this? So mother looks at her daughter's pure eyes. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And they jump out of the awning, they jump into the rainstorm, and with happiness and smiles, and what happens? All the other shoppers are also sheltering under the awning. Many of them come also one by one, hey, let's also jump into the rain. Before the rain was horrible, bad, and all of a sudden the rain became, geschmack, pleasure, we're going to dance in the rain. happiness and smiles. What changed? What changed was they woke up and they realized what they thought was like the most important thing was negligible. And this is the mystery of the shofar. This is the magic of the shofar. This is the power of the shofar. The shofar calls out from within us our deepest cry to Hashem, we want to be with you. And this is why it confuses the Satan. The Satan's like, you're this, you're that. No, it's clear that it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. And as we're in the last days of preparing for Rosh Hashanah, to think about the great shofar, the shofar of Mashiach. Mashiach comes, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to hear the shofar. What's going to happen when we hear the shofar? You know what's going to happen when you hear the shofar? You know what's going to happen when you hear the shofar? You know what you're going to do when you hear the shofar? We're doing right now, you're smiling. We're going to smile at each other. I am afraid you're going to step on my toes, and I'm going to step on your toes, and I'm going to afraid that you're going to encroach me on my business because you're selling wallets and I'm selling sugarless gum and all that stuff. All of a sudden you hear the voice of the shofar like, Feh! It's all above mice. It's all nothing. It's all weird. It doesn't matter.
Nothing because wallets and sugarless gum are not a competition with each other.
But I wish I was in different. We have all kinds of thoughts. All kinds of. I wish I was in mortgages. I wish. All of a sudden, we come to the Rosh Hashanah, praying for Rosh Hashanah, we have to start thinking about what really matters. What really matters. What really matters is that we want Mashiach to come. We want the war to end, and we want the Eden to be victorious, and to see the everlasting goodness when no one will pass away anymore, and those who pass away will come alive again. And we'll see the neshama of Marashenu Bas Reb Nissen just passed away today. And all Am Yisrael with Mashiach Melech Mashiach Barashenu. L'chaim L'chaim. Any questions or comments or criticism? Yes.
So when the Satan gets confused, does he not become?
He can't accuse us.
Prosecutor. He stops the prosecution.
It takes the air out of it.
He stops the prosecution.
It takes the air out of it.
That's all.
He's this. He's this. Whoa! What am I saying?
What am I saying?
What am I even saying?
Gotcha. All right.